Hey everyone, it's Kristin with the Kristin Chronicles. I'm here in San Martin, California, where I grew up. We moved here when I was 9 years old, and it was a great childhood growing up on a farm. I was in the 4-H club. I had a horse when I was young. I got to train that we had got for a deal at an auction. You know, chickens and rabbits and sheep and goats and cats and all sorts of critters, and really great times and really great learning experiences and you know, just imaginative fun experiences, you know, pretending I could speak chicken and, you know, just lots of great times. And I even had a rooster Billy I would play tag with and stuff. And one of my favorite childhood memories was hiking into the hills, and I would go up through a creek at the end of our street and going that way just to get to like this spot, which is just literally down the street or up the street from my house, or my family's house. It would take like an hour and a half, and it was just such an adventure because, you know, the creek like winds through all these backyards before it like goes into the hills. And once I was in, I think it was around high school sometime, they built trails. The entrance is just a mile from my house and it goes into the same hills and goes to the same spots that I used to go to as a kid. And it was so wonderful. I feel so blessed that I got to experience that before they like made trails. And I love looking back and you know, realizing it all and stuff. So that's like the little route I would go, and the trees like follow where the creek bed is, and I would hike up through there and stuff. And you know, as age 9, 10, 11, 12, and then back in there. That was a really wonderful adventure, and a huge pain of living with DID, Dissociative Identity Disorder, the complex medical condition that has me completely disabled at this point in my life. One of the biggest pains of living with DID is that I don't have access to those good memories, those positive times. Like, if anything, I can know that it was a piece of my life, but it's not the same as being able to tap into those memories and that joy and that, you know, that childhood piece of yourself. And, you know, if I were older, it would be understandable, but these are memories that are not from that long ago. And it's very discouraging when I can't remember the joys of my life as I suffer through the pains, because the whole point of the pain being, you know, okay, is that there's more to life than just pain. And if your brain is literally incapable of remembering any sort of experiences to prove that, and it just doesn't feel like that's the case and it's real, it's very easy to slip into suicidal ideations and major depression and all sorts of stuff. And so it's really important to be able to have that balance within the mind of yin and yang, of the good and the bad, of the pain and the joys. And without being able to have that sort of balance, it is very difficult to continue fighting and to keep the faith and to keep the hope and to keep a positive outlook and an optimistic perspective on life. And you know, it's even difficult to enjoy the moments of joy because I know I'm not going to remember them. And that's like so discouraging and disheartening. It's very, very difficult to even appreciate the joys or even be in the present moment with that joy, because it's just such a distant thing from who I am. I don't connect with it. I don't relate to the feelings of joy. And so there have been times where if I'm dissociated to a very strongly dark part, in the sense that they hold a lot of trauma, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of distorted perceptions about the world and how cruel it is, and they can actually be triggered by observing other people experiencing joy, because it's genuinely upsetting. It's angering that other people can experience this pleasant thing when I don't even know what that feels like. I don't even have the memory of experiencing that. You know, those parts of me have no memory of joy, no knowledge of what that could be like, and it's upsetting. And so this is the first time I'm really talking about this, so bear with me. There was actually an episode where I, long story short, was driving on the freeway in Colorado, and it was like a 75-mile-an-hour speed limit, so everyone's going, you know, like 80, 85, 90, and I got a phone call from a friend, and I just had like my first psychiatrist appointment, sort of a thing. And this was, you know, back in 2014 when everything started going really south. This was the first month I was ever actually disabled from this condition. I've had struggles all my life, but it was the first time I was disabled. And so I got a phone call from a friend, a dear friend at the time, and remained so for, you know, a couple years afterwards even. And just hearing the joy in her voice upset me so much that I quickly said my goodbyes, got off the phone, and started screaming for some reason. Just screaming at the top of my lungs. And I hurled my phone through the passenger window in my truck. It shattered the entire window. My phone was long gone. And the window was just like still in place, you know, of course, except for the hole. But the whole thing was like shattered, like there were lines of the glass being shattered. And so as I'm driving at like 80 miles an hour, these little bits, these tiny, tiny, tiny little bits of glass are flying at me. Yeah, the speed's so fast and it's the window and it's already broken. And so these little bits of window are flying at me while I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs. And that was the first time that, I mean, not the first time, but I guess the first time as an adult where it like really affected my safety in a very unexpected way. You know, a dissociative episode, but I didn't know that's what it was at the time. I thought it was psychosis. Like it lined up with that. No doctors ever bothered to like question my diagnosis, and so they just kind of slapped me with the easiest one, which was bipolar, and just kind of tried to stick me on meds without ever actually asking about, you know, any deeper issues or potential deeper issues even. And so not having the right diagnosis, not knowing what dissociation was, thinking it was psychosis, yeah, just getting stuck in the loop of doctors' bull shenanigans. They're in it for the money for the most part, and I really did believe otherwise. I really believe that they go into that business for, you know, for the people, and that's just not been my personal experience, and it is disheartening, and I hope that that is not other people's experiences, but for those that it is, that's one reason I work so hard every day to try to come up with new coping tools and ways of explaining this and making sense of it, because not everyone has access to good care. I don't have doctors of any kind. It's really tough when you're trying to figure out something as complicated as this, and there's no one there. There's no one who says, oh, here, I have like valid, legitimate, real, based in reality hope, and I have like legitimate, effective methods for actually helping you. And you know, there's nothing like that I have access to, at least, and I know it's a struggle for many others as well. And the more we can raise awareness and advocate for mental health awareness and gain support within the community and within society, we can slowly gain access to better care, and that is going to make the world a difference. It's literally going to not just change lives, but it's going to save lives. And I believe that all begins here and now with you and I today. So thank you very much for joining the Kristin Chronicles. Please be sure to check out my website.